Hi kids, welcome to Culinary Kits for Kids, and today's recipe is going to be a lentil minestrone soup. So if you've been to Olive Garden sells minestrone soups, and basically it's an Italian soup. So today, instead of kidney beans that usually go in a minestrone soup, we're going to be using lentils. So in your kit, you're gonna have a little bag of these lentils, and they're little beans, tiny. They have a lot of nutrients in them, including protein, fiber, B vitamins, so all this good stuff packed into these little beans. We're gonna be using these today. Another thing for this recipe, you're gonna have a can of Italian style diced tomatoes. Go ahead and open them up. You're gonna have 2 red bouillon cubes. These are beef bouillon cubes, so they're gonna have a beef flavor. You're gonna wanna go ahead and measure out 4 cups of water into a bowl or a cup, whatever you have. You're gonna have some dried oregano for this recipe as well. And then you're also gonna have an onion, 1 carrot, a celery, and some kale. So what you're gonna wanna do first is get your pan or pot. You're gonna put it at a medium-low heat, some oil in there. We're gonna let that oil get nice and hot while we work on our onion. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and start taking that skin off your onion. And I like to just use my knife to help me out. Just get that skin off. And a rule of thumb, guys, always wash your vegetables before you cook. Even if they're packaged up, wash them, okay? Whenever you get your carrot, wash it. Your celery, wash it. Your kale, you can wash it too. All the veggies you get in there, go ahead and give them a good wash. So after I take all this skin off that I can, let me put it over here. After I take all this skin off, I'm gonna go ahead and give my onion a nice slice in half. So I'm just gonna cut it in half. Y'all can see that, just half. And I'm gonna get that first layer off. You don't have to, but I like to do that. I like to take this little first layer of onion off. And now we're gonna go ahead and start cutting our onion. So there's a piece right here that had our stem and our roots. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut that off with a back and forth motion, okay, everybody? Back and forth, just like you're tugging something, but you're pulling the knife, okay? So from here, you're just gonna go ahead and slice your onion back and forth like I'm doing with my knife. And I'm holding my onion very firmly with my other hand. And I cut my onion in half, that way we have a flat surface to work with and you're not trying to cut a round onion. That just makes us more at risk to cut ourselves, so we don't want that to happen. So back and forth very gently until you get little strips of onion just like this. And then from here you could get some of those strips, put them flat on your cutting board, and just cut down, and you're gonna get those little cubes that we're looking for. We want that onion diced, okay? So keep on doing that. Get your pieces, put them flat side down, and with a firm push down on your knife and get those pieces, okay? Just like this. It's okay if they're not all one piece. Practice makes perfect, okay? When you're an adult, that's when you can try to see if you could get them in one piece. It's still really hard. But we're just gonna work on this onion, and yes, we're using it all. So it's really good for us. If you guys don't like onion, that's okay. You're not really gonna taste the bitterness or rawness of it. It's gonna be cooked into a very sweet onion. So when you come back, all my onion will be cut up for you, okay? Our onion's nice and chopped up. We're gonna throw it into our pot, that's already hot. Hear that? That's what we want. We want that sizzle. We want those onions to start getting nice and translucent. So once you throw all your onion into your pot, give it a little stir. Get all those onions coated with that oil you put in there. And now we're gonna work on our celery. So you're gonna get 1 stalk of celery. And if you have a little thicker piece like I do, what you can do is just slice that in half. So just get your knife, slice it in half. That way you'd have 2 pieces. And from here, you're gonna just firmly press down, and you're gonna make little slices of your celery, okay? Once you slice up this celery, you're gonna throw it right in the pot with your onions, because we're gonna wanna cook them up all together. And celery is great for us, guys. Celery has a ton of fiber. You're getting a lot of water too, so if you don't drink a lot of water, this will help with your water intake. But of course, it's in a soup, so you're gonna get a lot of liquid anyways, right? So once you cut that celery, throw it into the pot. Do your other side. You don't have to do it as hard as I am. I'm just doing it a little tougher because that celery has a lot of fiber. So all those little fibrous parts, they're a little harder to cut. Here we go. Throw them all into your pot. Now we're gonna work on our carrot. So for our carrot, make sure you wash it. But you can leave the skin on and eat it if you want. It's extra fiber. If you don't like the skin, you could go ahead and peel it. Ask your parents to peel it for you. And we're gonna just cut it like we did our celery. So carrots are a little bit harder to cut. They're a lot like, how do you say? Well, just harder to cut. So make sure you're holding it firmly. And when you press your knife down, just really give it a good press and get that carrot nice and sliced up. And like I said, it's okay if they're not all the same size, but the thinner the slice, the quicker it will be to cook, okay? So if you're cutting them really thick like this, and you're putting a whole piece in there, it's gonna take a really long time to cook, as opposed to if you cut it like this, right? So if you're cutting them thinner, they're gonna take less time to cook. If you cut them thicker, more time to cook, okay? So just cut those off, throw them into your pot. It already smells so good. Give your pot a stir. Get that celery, the carrot, and the onion all mixed together. There's a word for it, a cooking term for it. Mirepoix, something like that. It's French. I'm not too sure. But if you have time, Google it. It's basically the like mixture of carrots, onions, and celery. So just put that in there. I like to use my carrot all the way to the little end, the little stem. There we go. Mix all these together, and we're just going to want to cook these until they're nice and translucent. So about 5 to 10 minutes all together, okay? So while this gets nice and cooked, we want our carrots to get a little softer. Here we go. We're going to mix our bouillon cubes into our water, okay? So you're going to want to get 4 cups of water. I have mine in a bowl. Here we go. You're going to have 2 bouillon cubes. You're going to go ahead and unwrap them like a little present. They're cute. Okay. Throw them into your water. And these are what's going to give our soup a lot of flavor. Okay. This one doesn't want to open. There we go. Throw that into your water. Let it get nice and hydrated. And you're going to want to break them into your water. I have a little whisk, and I'm just going to push on them until they kind of crack in my water. There we go. And it's going to make a broth. So this is what makes our water into a broth. If you didn't have bouillon cubes and you had chicken broth or beef broth, you could use that instead. This is just a little easier to pack, so we use these. Perfect. All right. We got that going. We got our carrots and our celery and our onion cooking up here very nicely. So now what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna just give this a nice mix. Sorry, there's a little piece there I wanna get smaller. There it is. One more, okay. Now that our carrots and our celery and onions are cooked, we're gonna throw in our tomatoes, our lentils, and our oregano, and some salt and pepper. Just give your veggies and your lentils some salt, a little bit of pepper in there as well. And then you're going to throw in your 4 cups of water with your bouillon cube right on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this to a boil. That'll take about 5 minutes. And once it comes to a boil, we're going to lower the heat, put it on simmer, the lowest heat you can go. I think that's like a 2 in some people's stove, maybe low. And you're gonna wanna cook this for about an hour to 2 hours. I know it takes a long time, but those flavors are really gonna come together and it's gonna be really good. Okay, so when it's done, we'll be right back. All right, guys, it's been a while. Our soup is pretty much done. All that we need to do is put our kale in there. So get your kale and just throw it into your soup. My soup is really hot still. I just turned it off. So it doesn't need to be on. The skillet doesn't need to be on. The kale is going to wilt with that heat, okay? So I'm just going to mix that up. And you could see the kale in the bowl. It has like a light green. When it goes into the heat, it gets very vibrant. So that green color is going to really pop. And that's all she wrote, guys. All you got to do is stir your kale in, and then you can top it with some cheese. You can have some croutons with it. And this is our minestrone lentil soup. Super flavorful, a lot of good ingredients, and it's great for this little cold weather we're having. Enjoy!